Animals generally tend to shy away from audiences, but today they are hanging out at the television center.
And zoo educator Nichole Lee and Lindsay, her handler, have brought 3 of her wildest friends and will tell us a little about each one.
Thank you for joining us today.
Definitely.
So we have a northern Harrier here today, and what is her name?
Her name is Artemis, and she's named after a mythological goddess of hunting. So,
why is she at the zoo?
She is at the zoo. She came to us, farmer in the area, noticed her in their fields while they were plowing, and thought that she was injured and couldn't fly. And when in fact she was a juvenile that hadn't grown her flight feathers completely yet. So instead of kind of letting nature take its course and just move her off into a sheltered area, he picked her up and moved her and brought her to us.
So I guess that is a little bit of a tip, just to maybe leave animals alone. And
Yep. So there isn't anything wrong with her. There wasn't anything wrong with her after keeping her and making sure that she was healthy and everything like that. Found that her wings were just fine, and she could have been a free bird.
Yeah, and
but
she is a bird of prey. Explain what a bird of prey is.
Yeah, a bird of prey is basically a bird that hunts and eats other animals. So that's what she does. Her favorite meal are small rodents.
Okay, and you found where this bird was found in a field. Where are they from originally? I mean, what's their area?
They are typical around North Dakota, Minnesota. They definitely are more common around open areas. And instead of perching like a lot of other hawks or falcons do, they tend to hang out on the ground. They're a little more commonly found on the ground.
Okay.
Do they migrate, or do they usually just stay around here?
They will migrate occasionally. If they can find food throughout the winter, then it's not uncommon for them to stay. But they will migrate.
These birds of prey, I mean, you said they tend to stay to the ground. Do they catch their prey differently than most birds of prey, or is it?
They'll soar or hover a little bit. So they'll jump up out of the air and kind of look around on the ground for what they want to eat and kind of zone in on it.
Okay.
And then
well, let's get Artemis back in her cage.
All right.
And
Bye.
Lindsay has another animal ready for us. The animals that do come to the zoo, are most of them given to you by people, or do you find animals and then purchase them for the zoo?
Kind of a combination. A lot of the animals we use for education and for stuff like this are animals that people mistakenly decided to have as a pet, and it didn't work out.
Okay. Or
they're injured and they come to us. Most of the animals we have on exhibit are animals that we have received from other zoo facilities.
Look at this little furry guy. What's her name?
His name. This is a chinchilla. This is Buddy, and Buddy is an example of an animal that was kept as a pet and then realized that it was a little too much work to keep as a pet, and so we fortunately at the zoo had a home for
So
him.
they can be kept as pets, and they're out in the wild as well, of course?
Yep.
Where's their habitat?
Their natural habitat is in the Andes Mountains in South America. And they're actually quite rare in the wild. There's very few of them left because they've been hunted for a long time for their fur.
Is that full grown already, or does it get bigger?
He is full grown.
Okay.
They don't get any bigger than this, and they're hunted for their fur, primarily for fur coats.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very soft.
Oh wow.
It takes
so
about
soft, buddy.
takes about 100 of these little guys to make a fur coat. So
Wow. Oh, we wouldn't do that.
Very few of them left in the wild.
Never.
Yeah.
They're small rodents. Do they have defense mechanisms?
Yeah. One thing that kind of their most common defense is to make a lot of noise, and they'll kind of grunt and spit. They'll drop fur if they need to. They have a lot of fur, if you couldn't tell from feeling, but a lot of fur, so they'll drop fur if they're grabbed onto by anything.
Okay. Well, let's move on from the cute to the, well, I don't know if it's considered
Reptile.
cute. Some people might think they're cute. Something with scales instead of fur.
Yeah. What is the name?
This is a Russian Sand Boa. And if he has a name, I'm not sure of what it is. I don't know.
I know, it's so small. Is it a baby or is this full grown?
Nope, this is full grown. Russian sand boas stay fairly small. They maybe get up to possibly 2 feet at the most. So this is normal adult length. They won't get any bigger than this.
Usually when you expect snakes, you expect this giant thing to come out. So exactly what does this little guy eat?
This little guy, he eats small rodents, believe it or not.
Wow.
Snakes can usually eat something about twice the size of their head because of the way their jaws are put together. They can kind of detach their jaws. They're not fused together like humans are.
Okay.
So
and so you called it a boa. Is it a constrictor? Does it?
It is.
Okay.
Yes. It's one of the smaller type of boas, obviously, as you were mentioning. Smaller type of boa, not venomous, doesn't have any venom. So it does constrict its food in order to
But your hand
kill
is
it.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so they don't bite you.
He could. He has the teeth, but yeah, he's obviously not going to be able to do a whole lot of damage.
All right.
So, and
Well,
he's used to being handled.
Nichole, thanks so much for coming again. We love it when you bring your animals here. And Lindsay, thanks for coming as well. We appreciate it. You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be back right after this.